Hi guys, it's Miss Hiller.
And Mr. Wilcox.
Okay, and we're going to talk today about dividing whole numbers and decimals. So get your IMBs out. Go ahead and open to your next page. Make sure that you put your dividing page in your table of contents. And let's get started on your notes. Remember that you can pause this at any time so you can kind of catch up on your notes. So start off with the title, Dividing Whole Numbers and Decimals. And we're going to go over some of the vocabulary words and just kind of review today the important words that we need to know for division. Quotient, right? Quotient. Divisor and dividend. And do it in the division problem so that we can see and y'all know exactly where each one goes.
Make sure your dividend goes underneath your little tent there.
The dividend is what is being divided. The quotient, I hope you remember, we've been talking about this in class, is the answer to a division problem. And the divisor is what is dividing the dividend. How many go into a group, the groups that you're pulling out of the dividend. Oh, there we go. Here's better definition. So dividend divisor equal the quotient. Here's another way to write that. The dividend divided by the divisor equals the quotient. And let's go over the steps real quick to division. I know you guys did this last year, and we've been practicing in warm-ups in most of our classes. So we're just going to review real quick the steps, and then Mr. Wilcox is going to actually do a problem with you. So here are the steps. Go ahead and write these in your IMB. The first step is to divide. Oops. Second step is to multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat.
Okay. All right, guys. So now we are going to go to do our first example. So make sure you get these steps down that you got. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. An easy way to remember that, I like to do dad, mother, sister, brother, and then you can repeat. It's an easy way to help you remember these acronyms here. Okay, so we're going to do our first example, and our first example is going to be 14. Okay, you can write 14 there.
That's the divisor.
And then we're going to write 7,826. Okay, go ahead and do that now. Get that written down.
Okay, so here's how you read this problem. 7,826 divided by 14. We're pulling out groups of 14. Now, I want you to do something for me every time we do a long division problem, and this is going to really help you keep your numbers and your quotient, your answer, organized. Now, just take one little second, put a box. Doesn't actually have to be this tall. I got a little carried away. But watch when Mr. Wilcox is showing you how to divide, how to pull out groups of 14. It keeps your numbers organized so you don't forget a number or add an extra number.
Okay, so we are going to go and try to divide 7,826 by 14. So we're going to look at 14 here. Now that we have the two digits here, this is a little different than having just your one digit. So we're going to have 14, and we're going to see, will 14 go into, we'll divide into 7. Will 14 divide into 7? No, it will not. But will 14 go into 78? Miss Hiller, what do you think?
I think it will, because 78 is bigger than 14, much bigger.
Okay, so if you don't know your facts of 14, which not everyone does, I don't either, you could, is it okay to write it out to the side? If I want to do 14 times, let's say 4. Let's see, 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Put my 6 down, bring my 1 up here. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 56. Am I close?
You're a little bit close, but I bet we could get closer. And notice how Mr. Wilcox is just kind of guessing and checking. We kind of just have to guess and check when we're looking at these numbers. Now, as he's figuring out 14 times 5, let me tell you a little trick that I kind of like to do. If you round or find a compatible number, which we will talk about in class, but you can kind of guess, I can round that to 15, and count by 15 is pretty easy. So 15 30, 45, 60, 75. Okay, so 5. So Mr. Wilcox did a good job starting with 4 and then going to 5. That just kind of gives you an idea of where to start.
And it's kind of done my work for me. So following my steps over there, I've now divided 14 into 78, which gives me 5. Now my next step over here says to multiply. So now I'm going to multiply 5 times 14, which I actually did over here. So I've already done the work for me. So 5 times 14 is 70. So now I'm going to do my next step, which is to subtract. Very similar to what you were doing in 4th grade when you're doing with 1-digit divisor. So now I'm going to subtract out. 8 minus 0 is 8. This 7 minus 7 is 0. Now my next step is to bring it down. I'm going to bring down my 2. I draw my little arrow there. Bring down my 2. Now I need to figure out how many times will 14 go into 82. Well, I do know that 5 times 14 will go in there, and 5 groups of 14 is 70. Can I squeeze another group of 14 in there?
No, I think that would be 84, and that's too big.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and it's going to go in 5 times again. So I'm going to put my 5 up here. So now I'm just repeating my steps. I've brought my number down. I repeat. So now I'm going to go back to, I just divided. Now I'm going to multiply. So 5 times 14, which we did over here before, gives me 70. I'm going to subtract following my steps, which gives me 12. Now I'm going to bring down my last number, which is my 6. Now I have a different number here. Will 14 go into 12? No, it won't. So 14 go into, divide into 126. So now I can show my work and see what would be a way I could estimate. I could do times 10, but I know 14 times 10 is going to be 140. That's where estimating will come in and help me out.
Well,
that's a little too
really
high.
Put a 2-digit number in here.
Sure can't. So let's see. Let's do 14 times 8. Let's just try that one. So I have my 2 here because 4 times 8 is 32. Bring my 3 up here. That's 8 times 1 plus 3 is 112. I am 1 off, Miss Hiller. Could I do another group of 14?
I don't think so, because just in my head, if I add 14, oh, well, maybe. It looks like it might be.
Let's try
30s,
that. Let's
26.
do 14 times 9. Let's see. If I'm unsure, I should show my.
4.
There we go. 9 times 4 is 36. Bring my 3 up here. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 3 is 126. I think I found it.
Look there.
So I continue to follow my steps. I divide, then I multiply. I'm going to subtract and bring down. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 9 times 14, which I've already done here when I was showing my work. So I'm now going to have 126. I subtract, and I have 0 as my answer. So my final answer to that one is 559.
Right. Now, I get a little confused with division sometimes because it is a little harder, but I'm really good at multiplication. So what I like to do, inverse operation to check my answer. Most of y'all know what that is. What I want you to do is do your you try, and then I want you to do inverse operation, and we'll go over this in class and talk more about inverse operation in class tomorrow. So your problem is going to be 1,476 divided by 12. So good luck, guys, and we will go over this in class tomorrow.